Hi, beautiful souls. I am so grateful to hold this sacred space today to dig into a topic that I was just channeling on, which is specific to divine timing and how to actually utilize the intuitive pings that we're getting to build the life that we desire, the life and the business that we desire. And so I know a lot of people, like kind of the old paradigm was around like push, 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 show up, push, take the Adderall, like make your but get like 19 hours of work done in one day. And it's like not sustainable and it kills our adrenals. And as someone who was prescribed that for a very long time, and as someone who, moved through a season of just continuing to like push my way to the top, there's a different way of doing it, and we're meant to actually call in more ease if our soul is desiring it. Now, our soul, I would say for the most part, almost always is, although there may be some cases where it's like the soul is calling us into something else to heal something, to see something. But I mean, the soul really is desiring ease and flow. And our ego loves to get involved in that process and say, like, well, if I push harder, I'll make more money. Or if I go on more dates, I'll meet my dream partner. Or if I launch 20 times this year, I'll make more money. Or if I need to just do the thing now. And the reason divine timing is coming through is because I've noticed in my life how divine timing has played a massive role in deepening into things that are in alignment with my soul. So I'll give you an example. So I remember one of my biggest spiritual awakenings happened when my dog passed away. And I had made this appointment before this happened. I made an appointment with a psychic 9 months prior to that. And she's like, I have an opening on July 22nd. And I'm like, it's 9 months away. I'm like, yeah, I think I'm available in 9 months. Like, put me down. So, anyways, long story short, that appointment landed on the day that my dog passed away. And I remember reaching out to her and saying, okay, my puppy just passed away. I don't know if I'm supposed to be in a good mood for the psychic reading. I mean, I was so green. It was so precious where I was just like, do I need to be in a good mood to receive a reading? And she's like, it's totally up to you whether or not you want to come, but I have a contract with the universe that these appointments land on the day that you need them most. So again, divine timing. She had this contract with the universe that says, let this appointment land on the day that you need it most. So if I had gone to her 2 days after I reached out to her, I wouldn't have received the massive messages that I did that day. So when I was like, well, now I have to go to this session. So I show up to the session and, she opens the door. It's at her house. She opens the door and I knew of other people that had gone to her. So 10 out of 10, like if you're going to go see someone, a psychic at their house, like let it be a trusted source that people you like, know, and trust have been to, which they had. And so I knew, and my husband was there too. So, anyways, I walk into just a little asterisk for you guys in case you're looking for a psychic. And so I walk in, and the first thing she says to me was, lady wasn't a puppy, right? She was 14 and a half. And I remember like the arm hair was just sticking straight up. Like, first of all, I didn't tell you her name. Second of all, how do you know that she was 14 and a half? She goes, she's got some messages for you. And I walked in and I sat down and she had this whole piece of paper with like messages written like front and back, channeled information that she had received before I even got there. And she knew everything when it came to Lady. She knew how she had passed away. There were 4 things that had happened and they stacked against each other. And it was, she knew all of it. And she knew, and she gave me these incredibly specific messages from her that had this appointment not landed on that day, I never would have known that there was an ability to speak to someone on the other side after they passed. Like, because she was not just a psychic, she was also a medium. And so, like, the fact that it had landed on that day was just like, okay, full body chills. God, source, universe is waking me up to something. When people pass away, our relationship isn't ending, it's just changing form. And it was a massive catalyst for me on my own spiritual journey of leaning into the work that I do today. But had that moment not happened, had I not gone to the psychic on the day that I had, I don't know that I would be where I am today. And so I'm so grateful around the divine timing of when that happened, when I leaned in, because it was such a catalyst. Like I was like, well, now I want to know everything there is to know. Like what is on the other side? Can I connect to the spiritual realm? And I went on this like massive spiritual awakening, this beautiful journey of just starting to uncover my gifts that I hadn't even tapped into yet. out of just not knowing that they were there. They were blind spots until suddenly they weren't. And so it was really powerful. And so what I noticed too was around the divine timing specifically to my dog is, that was very like when Lady passed away, I went into a deep, dark depression for probably a year and a half. Because that was the first being that was like slept in my bed that I felt like she was my daughter that had gone to the other side. And I felt so sad and so empty and so depressed. And the whole process of that experience when a dog passes away is just so traumatic for anyone that's been through it. And I just had no idea until I knew. And so, it's like this process of like, your dog is sick and the doctors are saying like there's nothing we can do, like we have to euthanize them. And you have to make this impossible choice, like, yeah, kill my dog. Like it was so effed up for lack of a better term. It's just like, oh my gosh, but also they're in pain. So it's so sad. And then you lose this like incredible part of your family. So I went through this really deep and dark year, but honestly, it was a dark night of the soul because I was reclusive. I like didn't want to go out. I didn't want to party anymore. I was like a sorority girl that had turned into the shaman, but I had to have this dark night of the soul that was like, I just need to come inward and I have to study. I want to know what just happened. Like I don't understand it, but I want to know how that works and I want to do that myself. And it was like this catalyst, like thank you God to Lady. I mean, she speaks to me all the time on the spiritual realm now that I can channel and I can connect with her. But I'm just so grateful for her and all the messages that have come through from her and for her being this divine catalyst for me to uncover these gifts within myself and support humanity with my gifts. And so we're going to experience these divine timing elements throughout our life where we just have to step into deeper states of trust. So if something hasn't happened yet that you really, really want, I always say lean into deeper states of hope, deeper states of trust, because we know that it's coming, but there's a part of us, our ego, that wants to control it so badly, whether it's business, whether it's, finding your divine partner, whether it's having a baby, whether it's, finding another dog, that journey to when I was finally ready a year and a half after grieving, I was like, I think I'm ready to have another dog. And the Aries in me is like, when I make a decision, I want it yesterday. Like, I'm like, I want another dog and I want her now, and it was like, it was 2020. And so it was like almost like everyone who was like asked to like, they had to stay home was like, well, now I'm depressed and I think I want a dog. And so it was like, the competition out there to find a dog was like fierce, where I was just like, everyone we're applying for, we're not getting any of the dogs. What is happening? This is so frustrating. And I remember being in the car with my husband, sitting outside of his twin brother's house. We were there for a reason, and we were sitting outside, and I remember just sobbing, being like, "It's not going to happen. Like every dog that we're applying for, someone else gets, and like, why is this so hard? And like, I just want to give up. I'm so frustrated because it was like, you know." 3 or 4 months of just like applying and being denied or not, people just weren't reaching out. And so it was like, why is this so difficult? Like I started being so mad. Like I'm mad and sad and like this should be easier. And my husband, God bless this man, was like, for a million reasons, but just one of the many reasons why I just love this human and soul so much is he was like, but I can feel that this dog is coming. Like keep holding the faith. I can feel that this dog is coming. So just hold the faith. It's going to happen. And with that, it was like this divine way of being unattached, where it was like, okay, I've tried it, I've forced it, I have tried to shove my way in there, I've tried to make it work. And you know what? He's right. When it's meant to happen, it's going to happen. I'm going to stop trying to force it. And so I just kind of let it go. I like placed the order with the universe and I let it go. And I was like, wherever this divine dog is, let this dog come in at the divine time. I'm going to focus my energy on something else. I place the order and I'm going to be in that unattached state of calling it in. Like that wasn't even what I was realizing I was doing at the time, but hindsight 2020, I realized I was being in this divine state of unattachment where I was just like, I placed the order and now I'm going to focus my energy on something else or just take inspired action where it feels right. So the inspired action, the intuitive ping that I got was, instead of Christina trying to do it all on your own, reach out to your network. Just say, hey guys, like I'm looking for a unicorn puppy. Here's what I'm looking for. I really want it to be a lab or a golden retriever. I want it to be a puppy. I want it to be adopted versus shopped. And, if anyone knows where this unicorn is living, please let me know. And so what was really interesting is this woman commented on my post and said, "Hey, I think I know of a dog for you." And I remember thinking, oh, cool. And the wild story about this is, so I lived in LA in high school. And so I worked at this restaurant called Fleming's, and I was a hostess there, and she was a hostess with me in California. And so we worked together at Fleming's, and then I'm in Dallas, Texas. Unbeknownst to me, she moves to Dallas, Texas. I just happened to be at a Celine Dion concert because she is my girl. She is my favorite singer in the entire world, and I am just so obsessed with her. So I'm at a Celine Dion concert, by the way. I walk into the concert, there's thousands of people there, and I run into this woman. And I'm like, oh my God, like you live here? Like, what is going on? This is crazy. So it was like this wild, first of all, divinely aligned connection and divine timing that I just happened to be walking at the same time that she was turning around to walk somewhere else. So we run into each other there. And next thing you know, a year later, she's commenting on my post, "I think I have a dog for you." And I remember thinking, wild. Okay, something is happening behind the scenes. I'm going to lean into it. We're going to roll with it. So she tells me about this dog. And what's wild is I actually had seen this dog on an adoption website, but it said that she was taken or she was no longer available. And I remember being like, damn, she's so cute. Like, ugh. And so I remember being so frustrated. She tells me about this dog. And as she's telling me about this dog, all of a sudden, two other people reached out to me and they're like, "Hey, we have a puppy available." And I'm like, well, this is interesting. We went from 0 dogs to now 3 dogs. What is going on? And they're all saying, "Come and see the dogs this weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday." We had appointments Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So the Friday dog, we go to get the dog. And I remember, or we go to just meet the dog, right? And so I go to get inside of my safe that has my checkbook, and I'm typing in the code and it's not working. And I'm like, well, that's weird. Like, why is this not working? And so I'm like, what in the world? So I type it in multiple times and I'm like, what the heck? Like, I need to get my checkbook. Like, I need to be able to pay for the dog. And I look, all of a sudden, as I'm getting flustered, I like actually start to get present to where I'm at, my surroundings. And I look, and all of a sudden I recognize or I realize there's a picture of my grandmother sitting outside of the safe. And this picture was inside of the safe always. Like, I just have pictures of my family in there. And I was like, what is going on? Like, I've got full body chills as I'm telling you this. And I'm like, okay, my grandmother who is passed, she doesn't want me to get into this safe for some reason. Okay, this is interesting. We're just going to go meet the dog, but we're not going to buy the dog. We're not going to make a decision yet. So we go and we meet this random dog. This is another person that had reached out to me and said the dog is available. So we meet the dog and I think, oh, this dog is so cute. But like, I didn't feel like the deep connection, but I thought, like, he'll do, like if we have to and like the other dogs don't work out, like I want a dog, he'll do, right? And so it was almost like a settling energy that I was like leaning into at that moment. Then come Saturday, the dog we were going to go meet got adopted before we could even meet the dog. So it was like, okay. So then come Sunday, we go to this place and it's an adoption agency. We go there and this is where we meet Clover. And I am like instantly in love. Like, I'm just like, oh my God, this is it. This is her. She was the last one after 4 months of looking and the last dog that weekend. And I just instantly knew this is our puppy. This is the dog that I've been waiting for. And I was like, oh my gosh. And also that day, my lockbox did open or my safe did open. So I was able to get the check to be able to pay for the dog, our Clover. And so it was like this wild ride of like, again, divine timing, divine alignment. There's so much happening behind the scenes. Our ego wants to control it so badly, so badly. It feels so quote unquote good to try to control it. But there's so much more happening behind the scenes that if I had just tried to control it and I said, okay, we finally have a dog, screw it. We're just going to lean in. I'm going to take this dog on Friday. I would have missed out on this family member that I am so obsessed with, Clover. I mean, she is like a main character energy inside of my movie. And I'm just like, she's so precious. She was supposed to be a service dog, by the way. So the reason she came off of the adoption site was because she was such a good dog that they said, actually, let's train her to be a service dog. And so all of her other puppies in the litter had already been adopted. And so there was, Clover was now being trained to be a service dog. And then all of a sudden, the adoption agency that we were going to be adopting her from got this influx of dogs. Like, it was like 200 dogs at one time. And they were like, we don't have time to train Clover anymore. We have all these other dogs we have to take care of. So we'll go ahead and put Clover up for adoption. Again, divine timing. Had Clover been up for adoption, 1 month prior or 2 months prior, I would have missed her. But because they held on to her and then they got the influx of puppies and all of a sudden she was available and I only knew about it because I posted about it because I got the intuitive ping. All of a sudden things divinely aligned such that we met now this beautiful family member that I am so obsessed with and has just become like just such a light in my life for so many different reasons. Like she is so incredible. That's like a podcast for another day because I could just talk about how much I love her. But she's so playful and so goofy. And if you have a dog, you just love them so much, their family. So, this is the thing about divine timing. Things are always unfolding in the timing that it's meant to unfold, but we have to lean into deeper states of hope, deeper states of trust, deeper states of whatever it is that we desire to feel. Like, let's say, knowing that my dog was going to be coming, like, how am I going to feel when the dog gets here? Joyful. Like, I knew that that dog was going to have me feel like elation and states of joy. So part of me was like, how can you access that joy now so that you're at a higher vibration and more in alignment with what you're calling in? Because I decided, okay, I'm going to be unattached. I'm just going to let myself channel. I'll wait for the intuitive ping. And because I was in deep states of joy, I created this post that was like joyful. Like I was like, you guys, like I am looking for a unicorn puppy. I know that like this is like a tall order, but if you know of anyone that has a dog like this, please reach out to me. I am so excited and so grateful for your support. And so because it was this high vibrational post and it just happened to be at the time when my friend had seen it, she was like attracted in at that same time. And then that's the thing that divinely aligned me and my now dog Clover. So it's this ability to be unattached, to place your order, to know that it is coming at the divine time, and to continue holding the faith while simultaneously leaning into other things that bring you joy, but taking inspired action when you get the ping. So this is kind of the secret sauce for manifestation is place your order, connect to how am I going to feel when it gets here, start feeling those feelings now, release any and all expectations, and take inspired action when you get the ping to start to go for that thing. Right? Because if I had been posting like the day before or 3 months before, just trying to force the post out, like the Facebook post, maybe she wouldn't have seen it that day. Right? But because all of a sudden it was like oh my gosh, wait, I feel like I should just reach out to my network. Why haven't I been doing that so far? And then I just reached out to my network. She just happened to see it that day. Again, there's something to be said about divine timing, divine alignment, and that all of these things are being orchestrated behind the scenes. So these are just two examples of how God source universe is always looking to support us, right? So it's so important for us to place our order and to start to make the assumption that it's coming, like just that deep state of knowing, and continue to access the joy now. Because how often do we put our life on hold waiting for that thing versus being like, I'm going to trust that it's coming and how can I experience joy now? Right? It's so empowering when we can do that. So that was coming through. That was the channeled message for today. I am so grateful that you were magnetized into this episode. If there's something here that resonated with you, follow it. Start to follow that ping. I hope that it reminds you that you are being divinely guided in everything that you're doing. And I totally understand how frustrating it can feel like when you're in the waiting room. But how can you actually transform the waiting room into like this can be a party. It's no longer a waiting room. This is something else. Like this is an opportunity for me to experience joy right now in different ways and experience peace right now in different ways. Instead of holding myself to that space, how can I experience more of what I desire to experience in this moment such that I'm a vibrational match for what I want to call in? So I'm sending you so much light and love. If you loved this episode, please give us that 5-star review because it allows for more people to find this magic. I always set the intention before every single podcast episode that I am a conduit for the messages that people's souls most desire to receive today. So if your soul was magnetized into this, just know that there's other people's souls that are desiring to find this space and receive the golden nugget. And the way that that happens is by all of us leaning into community and helping this community grow. So I'm so grateful for you for tuning into this incredible space. I love you from the depths of my soul. And until next time, mwah.